15% off automatically.
Go Pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
America's Voice Live.
And welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber.
The pulse of the people.
We need somebody that's going to hear the people's voice.
The truth the mainstream won't touch.
This guy is, by definition, a globalist.
And the stories that matter.
RAV's own Ben Berquam.
Right up over this hill, we got an armed cartel. I see him.
Live.
Breaking news right now here on Real America's Voice.
Unfiltered.
These people are domestic terrorists.
And unapologetic.
We're here to take a stand for God and country. Let's feel good, doesn't it?
America's Voice Live starts now.
Welcome to America's Voice Live. I'm Steve Gruber. Today is Tuesday, the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day, in the year of our Lord 2026. Let's get to today's top stories. As always, thank you for being here with us on Real America's Voice. We appreciate it. First, new evidence has emerged now showing that China has accessed American voter registration data. How big of a problem is it? A big one. We'll explain with one of the authors of the bombshell report from Just the News. Also, despite what you may have heard, the president's popularity has remained steady as the conflict with Iran continues. We'll get you the details on why. And then later, we'll discuss the growing amount of American men reading the Bible. A new poll says over 50% of Gen Z and millennial men read it every day. That's all coming up right here on America's Voice Live. We start here, though. As you know, the Oscars were held and televised the other night. That's not normally something I watch, and I didn't this time. The stage tends to be dominated by a bunch of coastal elites completely removed from the issues that affect everyday Americans. Yet they think they're in the perfect position to preach, to lecture us and the public about the issues that their PR team decided they should talk about. It's typically nauseating, frankly. But I did appreciate a few moments that have since gone viral, and I think they speak to a broader trend that we can all find just a little bit of hope in. Irish actress Jessie Buckley won the Best Actress Oscar for her role in Hamnet, a film that depicted the personal life of William Shakespeare. And spoiler alert, the devastating loss of her 11-year-old son, Hamnet. Jessie played the role of his wife, and she told reporters that playing that role made her realize just how important and fulfilling motherhood is. She, in fact, dedicated her speech to her family and then made these comments about her husband and about motherhood. It's pretty impressive. Listen.
You, Fred, I love you, man. I love you. You're the most incredible dad. You're my best friend, and I want to have 20,000 more babies with you. I do. And Isla, my little girl who is 8 months, who has absolutely no idea what's going on and is probably dreaming of milk. But this is kind of a big deal. And I love you and I love being your mom and I can't wait to discover life beside you. Chloe and Maggie, to get to know this incandescent woman and journey to understand the capacity of a mother's love is the greatest collision of my life. It's Mother's Day in the UK today. So I would like to dedicate this to the beautiful chaos of a mother's heart.
In an age and an industry that tells women that marriage is a trap and children are a burden, this is something refreshing to hear. Very refreshing. I don't think Hollywood knew what to do with her joke about 20,000 babies, since they're more concerned with climate change, gender identity, and, of course, abortion. but I applaud it greatly. Women need to hear that embracing the privilege and responsibility of being a mother is a great thing, a wonderful thing. Even if it demands much of you, it's something that will always be worth it, especially alongside a husband who you love. I enjoyed seeing that. I did. Hollywood has a notorious disdain for God, so it was also refreshing to hear Michael B. Jordan start his acceptance speech like this after winning his Oscar for Best Actor.
Man, God is good. God is good. And, yeah, Mama, what's up? Y'all know how I feel about my mother and my father's here. Your Pops, where you at? My dad came in from Ghana. He flew in from Ghana to be here.
Notice the lack of applause for God is good. Yeah, me too, but I'm glad he said it anyways. He said it twice in case they missed it. They had no problem cheering and applauding his family, but you can tell most were not comfortable with a simple phrase like God is good. But I've seen this becoming more commonplace in the public sphere. I don't recommend that you look up the celebrities or look up to them as beacons of spiritual truth. That's not what I'm saying or doing here. But I think it's a positive change for the better that I gladly welcome. It's not just actors and actresses and pop stars who are willing to go public about their faith these days. I'm seeing this trend amplified in the sports sphere too. You'll remember that Tim Tebow really made a name for himself years ago doing this, but he did it more or less by himself. It was considered an anomaly, and he was an outsider for being so bold about his faith, but it's becoming much more commonplace these days. This is what Indiana's quarterback Fernando Mendoza had to say after winning the college football national championship earlier this year.
Fourth quarter, you're leading by just 3 points, and coach decides to go for it on fourth down. What did he say to you in that huddle, and how did you execute it?
That's one thing about our team. We're always going to put all on the line. And, I want to give all the glory and thanks to God there. My offensive lineman blocked perfectly. It's super sweet of myself. I was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. I got declined to walk on offer to the University of Miami. Full circle moment here, playing in Miami for all the friends and family. I can't thank Coach Nettie enough and Coach Whitmer and Coach Anna for taking a chance on me and just give all the glory to God.
Sweet kid. Not ashamed of his faith, is he? He's been vocal about it several other times when given any kind of camera time. Professional athletes have stepped up on the subject, too. New England Patriots quarterback Drake May thanked God during the Super Bowl's media week. In fact, he said nothing matters more than his relationship with God. Here he is.
I try to take advantage of this platform that I've been given, getting bigger by the good Lord, try to have a constant reminder that my purpose is bigger than my passion, and always finding something that I was trying to chase. I was trying to chase a passion in life. And that happened to turn out to be football, and knowing that there's always been a constant in my life, and that's been my faith. Knowing that no matter at any time, highs, lows, times when I feel like I need prayers, sometimes when I feel like I'm at the highest moments to talk and knowing that relationship with the Lord and a follower of Jesus Christ is the biggest thing in my life, and keeping that at number one, and knowing that is what's got me here and what helps me get here and what I can shine light onto others, and knowing that. Having hopefully, leading them to a relationship with them or doing whatever I can to help lead them to Jesus Christ, and knowing that, how their life can change.
Now, I'd just like to make a quick comparison here between Drake May and another Patriots quarterback, perhaps the greatest of all time. You may have heard of him, Tom Brady. Brady won 6 Super Bowls with the Patriots, but in a 60 Minutes interview almost a decade ago now, this is what he had to say.
But with all that money, fame, and career accomplishments, we were surprised to hear this from him.
Why do I have 3 Super Bowl rings and still think there's something greater out there for me? I mean, maybe a lot of people would say, hey, man, this is what it is. I reached my goal, my dream, my life is... Me, I think, God, it's got to be more than this.
What's the answer?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew.
It's haunting, isn't it? Drake May doesn't have that problem because he's not looking for his purpose in winning a Super Bowl. Feels like the woke wall is cracking. It feels like lots of people with lots of cameras on them aren't afraid to be loud and proud about what they believe, truly believe in their hearts. 5-10 years ago seemed unthinkable then, didn't it? It seemed like all these guys' agents were telling them to keep their mouths shut about controversial issues like faith in God if they wanted to keep racking in the big paychecks. But the American public has been loud and clear on the internet for the last several years that we appreciate real people. We appreciate the public figures who are pursuing truth and aren't ashamed of it, not one bit. When the Team USA men's hockey team took a trip to the White House after winning the gold at the Olympics, one of the players, Tage Thompson, got some backlash for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. But he didn't back down over the criticism. He stepped up. He leaned in. Here he is.
Do you have anything to say to people who criticized you for wearing a Make America Great Again hat?
I'm not too sure, but like I said, it's something I'm proud to be an American, and I have my own faith, my own beliefs, and everyone's entitled to their own opinions and beliefs as well. And I think we should be able to live in peace, knowing that not everyone's going to agree with you.
Yeah, and that right there completely undermines everything that the left wants to tell you about MAGA folks and the America First crowd. Tage Thompson's response showcases exactly how we make America great again, by being reasonable, by being proud of who we are, and by being okay with healthy disagreement. And the left hates it. They hate it. They pretend to be tolerant, but they're the only ones that are not tolerant of anything except their own agenda. And Tage Thompson is not part of that. He had some beautiful things to say about his faith as well. Here he is.
Tage, can you talk about your Christian faith that you've mentioned being very important to you, and it's something that seems important to several of the guys on the Team USA team. Could you talk a little bit about that and how that may have helped bring the team together?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially on this team too, we have a lot of guys that have a strong faith, and Jesus is everything to me. Obviously, we're made imperfect. We're all sinners, and we need Him. And I fall short every single day, and He's the one I rely on. And I think when you have that sense of hope, the grace and the mercy that I receive every day from Him is something that gives me peace and joy in life, and no matter what I do.
Now, the internet has its downside, that's for sure, but one of the greatest pros is that we have so much more space for interviews like this, for questions like this, and I'm glad we get to hear this kind of unapologetic expression of faith a lot more these days. I'm encouraged by it. I hope you are too. The pendulum swung so far left over the last 20 years, and I think in some ways it's coming back because the American people, you and me, are demanding that it does. We have leaders in place who don't discriminate against Christians, and actually many of them profess to have their own personal relationship with God, as we saw at Charlie Kirk's memorial. It's a good thing. And as long as we don't take it for granted and continue to push for this kind of normalcy, I think, I hope, I pray it will continue. And that's the monologue. Coming up after the break, a new report says China accessed American voter data as far back as the 2020 election. Just what are they doing with it? And why was this kept secret from us amid the talk of the 2020 being the most secure election of all time? Well, we'll examine that history and the facts coming up on America's Voice Live.
If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you.
Don't hate nobody, I just won't kneel. I don't chase headlines, I live what's real. I raise my kids to think and pray, to know the cause before they say, I don't scare easy, I don't scare fast. It's God, grit, and guns, no fear in my chest.
Because of you, Real America's Music just released the brand new single, God, Grit, and Guns, and it's already climbing the charts. Now let's take it a step further. Go download the song right now, and you'll automatically be entered to win a special prize. If God, Grit, and Guns hits #1 on Billboard, one random downloader will receive the plaque, a real piece of music history. So what are you waiting for? Scan the QR code or search God, Grit, and Guns on iTunes and download it today. Let's run it up the charts.
God, grit, and guns.
When it's breaking, we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel and take Go Pills to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
Go pills and Soldier Fuel locked in.
Go pills are packed with neurotransmitter support. Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Mic on, lights up. Soldier Fuel keeps me dialed right in.
Both are used by the U.S. military every day.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
And they're now available to you.
This is huge.
Scan the QR codes below and order your supply today.
Hear that pop? So good.
Go to buysoldierfuel.com or search on Amazon.
This is performance fuel. Clean energy, sharp mind. That's how we do it at RAV.
Visit buygopills.com and get 15% off automatically.
Go pills and Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Hi, I'm Chris from Illinois, and we like to watch Real America's Voice in the War Room with Stephen K. Bannon for all the great guests. Everyone from Kerry Lake, the great Frank Gaffney, Trump 24, Retribution.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
All right, continuing now. New evidence has emerged that China accessed voter registration data as far back as early 2020, and the Biden White House, when it learned about it, kept it a secret. John Solomon's Just the News has a new story out on the shocking revelation. A declassified document from the National Intelligence Council assessment states that Chinese intelligence officials analyzed election voter registration data to conduct public opinion analysis on the 2020 U.S. general election, among other things. With me now to discuss, Just the News chief investigative correspondent. He wrote that article alongside John Solomon, Jerry Dunleavy. Jerry, nice to see you today.
Thank you for having me.
So China accessed voter databases. The same thing, by the way, that the Democrats and the courts are fighting for the DOJ not to get from certain states. The same exact stuff China accessed, but our own DOJ is being blocked by Democrats and courts from getting the same information to also evaluate the election of 2020. Tell the folks what you found so far.
So what we now know based on a declassified but heavily redacted document from the National Intelligence Council, which is part of the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. What we now know is that the U.S. intelligence community knew by April of 2020 that the Chinese government had gained access to U.S. voter registration rolls and voter information and was conducting analysis based on that information related to the 2020 election. Now, where that fits into sort of the broader piece here, the broader puzzle related to the 2020 election is that the Chinese government was, according to at least some intelligence officials at the time, was attempting to influence the 2020 election to undercut then and now President Trump's reelection chances. And of course, Trump ended up losing that 2020 election to now former President Joe Biden. So China was attempting to conduct influence operations to undercut Trump's reelection. And now we know, based on these declassified documents, that they were using voter registration information, American voter registration information, to apparently assist them in those influence operations. And so there's a lot of information that the intelligence community still has that is still classified. And so we're hoping with our reporting here that we're able to, create some public interest and perhaps some public pressure to get the intelligence community to talk about what it knows about China's influence operations in 2020.
Well, if they have access to the voter databases, that means they would have names, addresses, partial social security numbers, everything you would need to create fake mail-in ballots, which for me has always been the crux of the problem from these elections, are these mass mail-in ballots. China would have had the ability to create voters, based on what you're telling me, out of thin air. And if some of this information gets declassified, I know that John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard, according to the reporting, might have additional documents that you guys are looking for. But am I wrong? And how many places did they get in? A couple of states, 10 states, 50 states? Where did the Chinese get in?
Okay, so on the latter question, great question. We don't know right now. We know that China gained access to this information. We don't know how broad their penetration was of U.S. voter rolls. We don't know. It's something that the intelligence community almost certainly knows, but it has not been made public yet. In terms of what the Chinese could do with this information, I just want to say, we're not saying here that China, flipped votes or gained control of voting machines and flipped votes there. But this information, this voter registration information, is sensitive. And by the way, there have been,
let me be clear, Jerry.
There have been big outcries when Russia gained access to this sort of information. It created a firestorm. And so the question is, why has everyone been so silent about China doing the same? Because they could potentially, like you said, use this to get into some funny business and try to create some fake ballots. They could use this to inform their influence operations by, spreading disinformation, pretending to be Americans, or sending, tailored information to Americans. There's a lot of things that they could do. And what we're trying to point out here is that when Russia did this sort of stuff, there was national outcry for years. But when China does other things, we barely even hear about it.
I want to be clear on this point that you made here. You're not saying that China flipped votes or was able to get inside the voting machines or create fake mail-in ballots. You're not saying they didn't do it either, because you're not sure yet, is what I'm getting here. Information is still coming out, because if I think back to 2020, there was a semi-load of fake driver's licenses stopped and confiscated in Chicago. There were 10,000 bogus mail-in ballots confiscated in Muskegon, Michigan. There was a post office worker who admitted that he delivered a truckload, an 18-wheeler full of mass mail-in ballots from the state of New York to the state of Pennsylvania, all around Election Day 2020. Now, I'm not saying this is all connected to China, but you've created a lot more questions for me here. We need to have these answers. Last word to you.
Well, what I will say is that there was a intelligence report in 2020 that was disseminated, but then quickly pulled back from the FBI. From an FBI field office disseminated it, and then the top FBI leadership pulled it back. That suggested that China may have been attempting to generate fake driver's licenses to carry out a fake ballot scheme. Now, as far as we know, that was actually never properly investigated. So again, the issue here is that there are a lot of indications that China made various moves and various attempts to influence the 2020 election. But this was not treated seriously. It certainly was not treated with the massive freakout the way that Russia's attempts to meddle were. And so this points to a broader problem inside the U.S. intelligence community and among at least its former leadership related to how they deal with China trying to influence things here in the United States.
Yeah. Jerry Dunleavy from justthenews.com. Go read the article I did. It is eye-opening, and it's just the beginning. I understand you'll have another story dropping tomorrow and probably several more to come. Jerry, really appreciate you being here. It's a really important story you're covering. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, after the break, the president's approval rating remains steady as the war on Iran continues. So is it as unpopular as some of the media continue to tell you? Let's look at the numbers from Chicken Noodle News after the break.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm 404 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my Real America's Voice.
Well, Democrats and maybe even some on the right could be depressed today as polling continues to show the war in Iran has not hurt President Trump politically at all. At all. Here is CNN's chief data analyst, Harry Enton, who says despite his critics, the president's approval rating remains steady. See for yourself.
But so far, there's kind of been a little bit of a collective shrug from the American public. What am I talking about here? Well, let's just take a look here. Americans who say they care a lot about the Iranian situation, look at this. It's just 45%. Just 45% of Americans say they care a lot about the situation going on in Iran. Compare that to the U.S. economy, which, of course, is the number one issue right now in this country. We're talking 84%. That is a very, very high number. And this 45% number, only about half that and below 50%. So despite all the hubbub, right now we're talking about less than a majority of Americans who say they care a lot about what's going on in Iran right now.
Not a big deal. In fact, Enton went on to say that Americans aren't even interested in the war. He said since the first week of the war, Google searches for Iran have dropped 84% from the day it started. 84%. The Oscars did better. Americans aren't just not that interested in the war. Take a look.
Look at this. down 84% versus February 28th, when, of course, the current war started in Iran. And if you look back on Sunday, you look back yesterday, searches for the Academy Awards significantly higher, are talking about 3-4 times as high as searches for Iran in the United States of America. So at this point, outside of the situation in Iran perhaps affecting the U.S. economy, which, of course, is the number one issue, is what Americans are focusing on, I'm just not thinking that this is necessarily going to be the big political mover and shaker that you might expect, given that this has kind of been a pretty gosh darn big deal, at least globally speaking.
Yeah, but not to Americans, apparently. And by the way, the other thing that he said was that Donald Trump's approval numbers have not moved at all. They stayed right in the mid-40s, which is where he's been for a while. As we get closer to the election, we'll see how that plays out. But if the economy continues to improve, if gas prices come back down after we solve the Strait of Hormuz, expect better numbers by the time we get to the midterms. And speaking of the economy, White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett laughed at ABC News for suggesting the Strait of Hormuz is damaging the U.S. economy after host Margaret Brennan repeatedly called propaganda, what he called propaganda, that is, from the Iranian regime. Hassett told Brennan that President Trump says blackmailing countries to allow ships through is unacceptable. Here's what he said.
America is not going to have its economy harmed by what the Iranians are doing. The bottom line is that in the 70s, we didn't produce much oil, but now we do. And so America's in a very strong position. They think that they're going to harm the U.S. economy and get President Trump to back down. There couldn't be anything that was a stupider thing to say, because the bottom line is that our economy has got all this momentum in the world, and we've got lots and lots of oil. We have lots of trading partners that are more on the hook from imported oil from these guys. And as we can see, it's completely unacceptable that a government that would, murder 40,000 of their people just a few months ago would be blackmailing countries to let stuff through.
Yeah. It is remarkable. The economy is still resilient. The market has taken some drops, but not anything beyond normal. Normal would be a 10% drop every year. We haven't seen that now, have we? Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns filed every year but still owing? Retired? Got hit with a surprise tax bill? Lots of questions, right? Are you a business owner with a tax bill you cannot afford? Did you take early money from your 401k and now you're on the hook for a lot of taxes? Well, however your tax issue started, the result is the same. Stress, lack of sleep. Your balance is not going down. Penalties grow, interest compounds, and many of you are about to owe again this year with no plan in place. Stop what you're doing and call Tax Network USA. The IRS can garnish wages, levy bank accounts, and even take your home or retirement. It's true. They're almost limitless on their power. With over 15 years in business, they have seen all these problems and resolved it all, helping taxpayers nationwide settle over $1 billion in tax debt. Call 800-905-8000. That's 800-905-8000, or visit tnusa.com/RAV, tnusa.com/RAV. Coming up after the break, we'll continue our discussion from the top of the show on American values turning back to faith and family. A new study shows that over half of Gen Z and millennial men are reading the Bible every day. We'll have that straight ahead.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my real America's voice.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As I said at the top of the show today, it seems like American pop culture is shifting back a little bit toward traditional values like faith in God and the importance of family and motherhood, of course. We saw it surprisingly at the Oscars over the weekend. And here's one more clip I didn't have time to play for you off the top. This is actress Nicole Kidman addressing how important going to church is for her. Listen.
How do you prepare for something like that?
Mike Amiri, the great designer.
Well, this is crazy, but I will go to church in the morning.
That's not crazy. Why is that crazy?
No, because I will be going, squeezing it in before all the...
Why is that important for you?
Centers me. It's what I do on a Sunday.
Well, joining us now to discuss this and more, including a new study showing that over half of millennial and Gen Z men are reading the Bible at least once a week, sometimes more. It's the president of Summit Ministries, Dr. Jeff Myers with me. Doctor, nice to see you. I mean, this is a good trend, right? I mean, we've seen years, decades of people migrating away from church. COVID, they shut churches down altogether. And, a lot of us thought, man, that's really going to be the death knell for a lot of churches and faith. But really, what's happened is there's been this resurgence, a big amount of interest after the death of Charlie Kirk. But that was just one step in coming back, wasn't it?
I think you're right. One of my students, Michael Mora, who's a senior at the University of Notre Dame, recently spoke at a prayer gathering of more than 7,000 college campuses hosted this prayer gathering. And he spoke at it and he said, we're not Gen Z, which would be the last generation, the end of the alphabet. He said, we're the Lazarus generation. And people who are watching or listening here remember the story of Lazarus, Jesus's buddy. He died. Jesus came. He'd been dead for 4 days. And he said, roll the stone away from the tomb. And he said, Lazarus, come out. But before that, the shortest verse in the Bible, he said, Jesus wept. He wept for the lost potential. He wept for his friends. He wept for their grief and for their anxiety. And then he said, this is a resurrection. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And I think that's what we're starting to see with Gen Z. We're certainly seeing the trends here at Summit Ministries. We've got a waiting list of guys for the first time, I think, in our history to come to our programs this summer. The young men especially are stepping up, wanting to not only read and study what's going on in the world, but especially to study God's Word, the Bible.
So are you talking about people that are, in their high school years, in their 20s or 30s? What is this age bracket you're seeing, Jeff?
Well, when we think of Gen Z, we're thinking of young adults who are probably 15 years of age up to maybe 30 years of age. So it would be, it's hard to study them because that demographic, 18 to 24, pollsters just tear their hair out. They can hardly get any 18 to 24-year-olds to reply to their polling questions. But when we oversample them and we go after them specifically, yes, we're learning that 18 to 24, but maybe more broadly 16 to 30. And then with the millennials, same thing. We're seeing that especially these young men, more than half of them are reading the Bible at least once a week. Listen, when I was their age, my roommates and I had on country music television all the time. We weren't reading. We were just goofing around. And to hear that this is what young men are intentionally doing, more than 1 in 2 in the United States of America, is extraordinary.
I hesitate to use the word revival. A lot of people threw that word around after the memorial service for Charlie Kirk, which I was blessed to be at. It was a remarkable event, and you could feel the spirit in the air, if you will. So I don't use the word revival, but a resurgence for sure. We're seeing church attendance increase again. You're talking about these young men, 15 to 30, that are reading the Bible once a week, maybe more. I've seen these events now where on Friday nights they get together at bowling alleys and so forth, not to drink beer and hang out like maybe I did at the time, but to have fellowship and to read the Bible. I mean, it's something that's very important. There's a stirring in this country, Jeff. There is a stirring for the truth because people have seen so much garbage in social media. It seems they just want to tether themselves to the truth, and the truth is the Bible, right?
Well, yes, people think of the word revival, and maybe they think of it in a negative way, or they think of it as a special outpouring of some kind, but it simply means to come back to life. And that's why we are now thinking of Gen Z as the Lazarus generation. They are coming back to life. They're finding a sense of purpose, and they're finding it in God. And, the Oscars were an interesting case study. I'm glad you were showing clips from that.
Yeah.
Only about 5% of Americans ever tuned into any of it, and nobody tuned into all of it. It was more than 3 hours long. But in Gen Z wasn't really watching. But you know what they are watching? They were watching the Super Bowl, where a significant number of the players, every time they play and they're interviewed, give glory to their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And they're watching real men who are taking a stand in public that they know they're going to pay for, that will be costly to them. And that is inspirational to young men in a way that's easy to forget when you get to be my age.
Yeah. And apparently the same thing happened in the locker room after the men's hockey team won the gold medal. There's example after example. It's good to see. And good to see you, Doctor. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Steve.
Appreciate it. Coming up after the break, America's 250th birthday celebrations are already underway, but in a time of declining patriotism, especially among some of those young people, how do we bring pride in our country back? We'll take a look at that question coming up.
When it's breaking, we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Gruber. Drink with the Rav hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go!
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hi, my name's Paul Poyer. I'm Poyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my real America's voice.
Welcome back to America's Voice Live. Well, this year, as you know, marks America's 250th birthday. July rapidly approaching, and the country is gearing up for big celebrations, but we've seen a marked decline in patriotism in recent years, especially among young people who skew much more to the left. And we, of course, know the Democrat Party is essentially anti-America anymore, right? So on this 250th year of America, how can we turn that trend around? Joining me now, someone who has been working to do that for years now, the CEO of YourAmericanFlagStore.com, and he's now launched Your American Flag Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving the legacy of American heroes through handcrafted wooden flags that tell their remarkable stories of service for generations. James Stockey. James, nice to see you again, my friend.
Thanks for having me back on, Steve. I appreciate it.
I mean, you spend your days crafting flags, ones that fly outside, ones that go on the wall. It's a family endeavor, which is nice. Faith, family, and God. You put it all together, don't you?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, we're trying to bring back those initial values that made our country so special and so great and allowed us to, in such a short time, become the best country to ever exist on planet Earth. And I think that you're right. In the last several years, we've seen a decline of excitement and enthusiasm for 4th of July and other patriotic days that we're supposed to be really celebrating our country. It's a shame, but I think what really needs to happen is that parents need to speak up against the schools that are kind of knocking our country, the media that's knocking our country, and really kind of, even if it doesn't make a change, if the kids in those homes see that their parents are standing up for those values and trying to make a change, I think that makes a change in the next generation. And if you are one of those kids out there that is with parents that just aren't with the program, that aren't loving America, find a friend that has those values in it and go have a great summer, 4th of July, Veterans Day, whatever, with those families who actually enjoy celebrating what makes this country so great.
Amen to that, James. Well done. Now, you went from a small little operation to making a lot of flags. Now you've moved on to making these great wooden flags for the wall, honoring those that have served this country in such a remarkable way. There's a pretty good example of one right there on your screen, folks. How many of these do you create now? I mean, this takes time. This is not something you put in a machine and just run it out. Each one is individual, right?
That's correct. I mean, there's every one is a fully custom, fully personalized piece for a very special American hero that made the ultimate sacrifice for our country or a community in our country. So what we're really trying to do is just make a flag that really honors their values and what they stood for and what their life meant, so that it hangs in those houses, especially those homes with kids that are growing up and may not have their mom or dad there to have a conversation. But if we can make a flag that represents what those conversations may have been, that's what our goal is, just to give kids and spouses something in their home that reminds them of that loved one who gave it all to their community and their country. And hopefully we can, with that piece of art, we can actually spread that to the next generation and inspire that next generation to carry that torch on.
Absolutely. Now back to the original flags. I want to talk about this for a second because I noticed this years ago, James. You'd pick up an American flag made in China, made where? I'm like, it never made sense to me. Yours are made where?
Here in Harriman, Tennessee.
There you go. Great state of Tennessee. So tell us about the business. How is it growing? How is it going? How is America 250 treating you?
Well, we will be having a flag that will be coming out just for our anniversary. We'll probably be releasing it next month. But I mean, like you said in your opening, I mean, American patriotism is at an all-time low. We've been in this business for 8 years now, and we are at an all-time low. So anything that we can do to inspire people to just take a flag, run it up on a pole in front of your house, take one of our wooden flags, hang it on the patio out in front of your house, and for the love of God, buy a flag and put it in your home, hang it on the wall, and talk to your kids about what that flag represents, what it means to you. Maybe there's been a lot of personal sacrifices in your own family's history that you can share with that next generation and really make that next generation understand what this flag means and why it's so important. When you don't have a flag in an American home, nobody should wonder why we're losing that next generation's love of country. We got to get more flags in those homes and have those conversations with parents and their kids. And I think that in a very short amount of time, if everyone just kind of takes part in this, we're going to see just like we've seen a revival in Christianity, I think that we're going to see a revival in American pride and patriotism. But it starts with sharing that with that next generation. And the way you do that is you get a flag, you put it up on a pole in front of your house, and you get a flag, you hang it in your house, and you have those conversations.
You lead by example. I learned from my grandfather. Every morning when the sun would rise, he'd go out and put the flag out. When the sun would set, he would bring it in, never put it out in the rain. He would take it and put it out, and he always respected it. And that gave me a lasting respect. It's my grandfather. How could you not respect that? YourAmericanFlagStore.com is the place to go. Support what they're doing there. Look after the veterans. Put a flag outside today. Don't be one of those neighborhoods that you drive through that has no American flags. I can't stand that. But I love when you drive down a street and everybody's got one. Those are the communities I love the most. James, thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for helping me get this word out.
Absolutely. You come back soon. YourAmericanFlagStore.com. Support a real American patriot there and put a flag out today. Why don't you? Just like my grandfather. All right. The Trump administration has brought a lot of positive changes when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. But the reality is there's only so much the government can do. And if we really want to change America and make it healthy again, that starts with you. That's where the Wellness Company comes in. The Wellness Company gives you the opportunity to make sure you are prepared for whatever happens with their prescription medical kits that contain an assortment of life-saving medications and a guidebook to explain how it's all used. Additionally, the Wellness Company offers a variety of products from parasite cleanses to methylene blue to weight loss and so much more that can help you stay healthy and live a longer, more satisfying life. Make America healthy again starts at home with you and me. Go to twc.health/voice today and order. That's twc.health/voice. Use the promo code VOICE. You'll save at least 10%, maybe more on select products. All right, after the break, we'll have a story that reminds us of how wonderful America still is, plus the answers to the America's Voice question of the day. How long will the conflict in Iran last, in your opinion? Can the president get this done quickly? We'll have your answers after the break.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel. Film yourself cracking one open and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again.
Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my real America's voice.
Well, what makes America wonderful? We do it every day with the hope of putting a smile on your face. I've got one on mine. Today's story comes to us from Morgan County, Georgia, where a school bus driver's quick thinking helps save lives. Marlene Davis was picking up her first student at the fateful morning. Everything seemed to point to a fairly normal day. That is until she started to drive to her next stop and noticed a plume of smoke coming from a house nearby, followed by some flames. Without a moment's of hesitation, Marlene Davis pulled over and told the student to stay put, and then she ran up to the front door, rang the doorbell continuously, hoping that someone, anyone inside, would answer. Thankfully, somebody did, and it turns out the residents were all asleep, hadn't even noticed the fire. Additionally, the residents within the home were able to get out safely. As for the fire, it was contained. Damages to the property were not too dramatic, making for a fortunate outcome that could have gotten far worse had Marlene not jumped into action. While most would wait and pray in a situation like this or just stand back, Marlene Davis's choice to heed the call to action is honorable. And today serves to remind us of what makes America wonderful. All right, there you have it. No question of the day today? Did I miss that, Rob? So it is. Oh, there it is. How long will the conflict in Iran last, in your opinion? Thank you, Rob. Can the president get this done quickly? Here are your answers. 3 to 4 weeks. We're told 3 to 4 weeks. All right, we'll see how that plays out. Next. Seems another goal is to have a working government that is democratic and not Islamic. 1 or 2 weeks, and we should be done with the military intervention, says Mr. Hogan. All right. See if we can tune one other one up here. Give it 1 or 2 weeks. It all depends on if other countries assist in the straight passage. Well, apparently the countries don't want to assist to benefit themselves, to have oil come to the EU or China. You know, I'm kind of with the president on this one. We've helped these countries for decades. Decades. We footed the bill, used our military to do things for them, and they give us nothing in return except grief. Maybe we should just say, you know what? We just won't pay you anymore. And you know what? When you have an issue, call Canada. They won't help you either. Good seeing you here today. Don't forget to join me at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, please, as we kick off the broadcast day here on Real America's Voice. Always there for you with the first news of the day, analysis, and so much more. And follow me on all the social media platforms. You know them. Till tomorrow. We'll see you then.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
I'm fueled up now. Woo!
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink what the RAV hosts drink. Soldier Fuel.
Let's go.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shopped. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
When it's breaking,
we're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan